Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Autopsy with Maddie P. I'm your host, Maddie P. Girl. What is crackin', queen? Did you miss me? Did you miss me? I missed you. I filmed yesterday, though, so I literally saw you yesterday. Has anything happened since yesterday? Yeah, actually, but I can't talk about it, so why did I bring that up? This last few weeks, we've had some mental health epis, girl. And let me tell you, it was preparing you. Do I have any warm-ups? No, honestly, I fucking don't. I'm sorry. I'm not here to be funny today. I'm here to get down to business because guess what those mental epis we're getting ready for? Are you ready? For a sober, curious chat today, queen. So we can start utilizing some of the tips and tools that I have given you from my toolbox as an alcoholic and addict. So I will start by saying, I have devised, everyone, drumroll, a 4-week plan, okay? I have devised a 4-week, 1-month plan for my sober, curious girls, okay? And we're going to do this together. I have a friend who is also going to be participating. We are going to be doing this over the course of 4 weeks. So in this episode, I'm laying this out for you. We're talking about sober curiosity. We're talking about getting sober. And I'm laying out some of the groundwork of what your 4 weeks will look like if you follow along, which I think you should. You deserve it. So that is coming later in the episode, but I want to keep you watching. So I told you now. Get in places with this thinker. You see? See what I did there? So first and foremost, we're going to talk about sober curiosity. A lot of sober people actually hate sober curiosity. I kind of understand why. I kind of get it. But I'm from Gen Z, so I also understand why this is coming about now. And it makes so much sense to me because if I was not an addict, I was not an alcoholic, I'd probably be on some type of like wave, you know, looking at the TikTok, seeing how these girls are benefiting and being like, damn, maybe I should give this a shot. Why everyone doing so well? I'm left behind and scared. So there is also somebody, once again, cutting my grass. And let me tell you, it does piss me off. The secret professionalism that does somewhat exist inside of me apparently fumes at these people because they cut my grass once a fucking week. And I can't work around it. I have tried. There is no working around it. So if you hear a slight buzz, I got a new mic and hopefully that'll help you. I probably talk about them cutting the grass all the time, but I'm not a logic complaint. Is that Karen-esque? But like, how good does your grass need to look? People are working. This isn't my job, but wish it was. Also, did I already say I'm wearing PJs this week? Because I was just feeling it. And the color looks good with my hair. Also, I'm showing a few signs of aging, okay? One is back pain. But honestly, this is about to sound gross. Sorry, but I do think someone blew it out. I'm not kidding. I'm actually not kidding. So, it hurts. 2, I drink black coffee. Not all the time, but I drink it now. You know, that was a sign. I thought something was wrong with me. But, you know, it's just the hair growing on my chest. I used to drink straight liquor, so there's nothing wrong with me drinking straight black coffee. 3rd thing, a little bit of nostril phlegm from the pollen, which is kind of embarrassing, honestly, because, like, grow up, it's a bug. Why is that making you sick? Don't know, but I didn't relapse. I'm not off coke. If you see something string down my nose, it's these damn bumblebees. Also, love the movie Bee Movie. Also, my son, the stirrer. A stirrer? You're going to be a stirrer? I want to work the Drellman. Also, I love that movie. Also, okay. So, I guess we'll get him right to it, queen. We'll start by talking a little bit about sober curiosity, okay? Here's the thing, okay, that people get mixed up. Addiction and recovery healing is not linear whatsoever. It is a journey you take. You do not get sober and go like this, or I guess it'd be like this. You don't do that. You get sober and you do this. You do a little bit of this and you do a little bit of that, and then you doing flips and shit. So today I'm teaching you how to do a backflip. That was the dumbest fucking joke. My dad jokes aren't working for you guys, which is why I feel like y'all don't get to see the really funny side of me. One day you will. But just know, I'm pretty funny. Should I toot my own horn again? It's not linear, guys. So I had this misconception as well, getting into recovery, getting into sobriety, that my life would just be like we're healing now. And if I mess up, it's detrimental and my life is over and it's all my fault. It's not real. You have plenty of room to make mistakes. You have plenty of room for error, and you have plenty of space to be a human. I promise you. Recovery does not confine you to a box where you have to be perfect. It actually does the opposite. There's so much wiggle room, and so much of the things that we discuss are suggestion based for the very reason that it is up to you. You are your own teacher, which is a great blessing if you have that privilege, if you can do that for yourself. Love that. So yeah, start there. This is not going to be a linear process if you decide to get sober. Or, wait, am I saying that wrong? Is it linear? Y equals MC squared. Yeah. Does sobriety have to be super black and white? No, actually it doesn't. For me, as we have illustrated, I do a little bit of both. I have some black and white where I don't budge, and then I have plenty of gray room where I understand I am being taught things not to do them, but so that I may instill them within myself and naturally be able to do those things. Does that make sense for you? On a humanity level, when you are learning certain things, you can't just suddenly be fucking Dalai Lama or whoever. Wait, Gandhi or who the fuck ever you want to be. You have to learn how that fits into your life. Just like our personal relationships that we talked about with all these little things, we also have personal relationships to very, very real human things, like caring for others, like how we deal with our how we deal with our fears, how we deal with our insecurities, how we deal with judgment or our lying or our gluttony. Okay? These are all very personal relationships that can be taught to us as a whole, which help us. But there's a reason that we annotate personally when we're going about, step work or program-esque things or healing things. The reason we annotate, there's a reason we do shit, because it sticks to us personally for a reason. Okay? So we're going to learn some personal relationships with these things, which is why I say sobriety is not black and white. We learn one lesson at a time. You are not expected to be perfect at the end of even the month if you decide to take that chance. And also, I am in the program. Obviously, I'm in the program. Okay? I love the program. We don't talk about the program. I will say that every single time that I begin to talk about it, because I don't want anybody to get that shit mixed up. I'm not here to talk about the program. I'm not here to talk about all my step work. I'm here to help people, those of which who maybe do not have a program, okay? If you have any personal questions about the program and about step work, my inbox is open at all times. If you're part of the program, happy to talk about it with you, okay? Yeah. So, a lot of people utilize the program. I am one of which, okay? I could not picture my life any other way. I am sober. My life is saved 100% because of AA, 100% because of the program. Yes, because of self. But those people taught me that. Period, point blank, okay? Some people don't need the program. I don't think any less of anyone who doesn't utilize the program. Just like, structured group religion or like certain people just can't handle shit like that. The structure, and yes, the program can be very God-based, okay? That's not meant for everyone, and I fully understand that. So I want you to know as well, someone coming in who is just sober curious, if you end up liking this or you end up thinking that you might have a problem, we will discuss what steps to take at the 4th week. So if at the end you're like, holy shit, I have a problem. This was difficult for me. I really enjoyed this and I feel a lot of peace, whatever. I'll help you go to the right place, okay? If you need help, you need to get to the program. That's what we're here for, Queen. That's what we're here for. But I'm not hurting y'all like cattle and sending you to the program. That's also not how it works, okay? Not how it works. Like I have voiced, I love sober curiosity because I feel as though if this was a different time period that I was getting sober, it would be way more rigorous and way more fucking shitty. Because I have a lot of friends who are getting sober. Not because they have a problem, but because they want to be better. And they realize that shit fucking blows. That probably wouldn't have happened to me even just a few years ago. So I am accepted better in society. I am understood better, and people don't shit on me. Because let me tell you, the history of that shit back in the day, if you were an alcoholic, you're a nutcase and you're getting shit on. It's not like now where I can say I'm healing and I'm an alcoholic and I know people don't take it the wrong way. But that does still exist. So here's the only thing. This is the only thing I'll say about sober curiosity. And something that I want you to take away. Not the only thing I'll say about it, but in a bad way, okay? And what I want you to take away. I have had a few instances of people claiming sobriety or whatever to make me like them. I'm not sure what it was, just to find out they drink or whatever the case is. And that takes away from somebody who needs help in the future, okay? You do what you want. You front if you want. I don't care. Not my business. That doesn't affect my personal sobriety and my personal journey. If you happen to use the word or whatever, that's fine. But I do want you to understand that we will get into what the word sober means and what we carry with that word. It is like thrown around crazy willy-nilly. I think this world needs labels. So part of Sober Curious, I think, does make it harder for people with a real issue to get help. Okay. This to me is very similar with the whole depression anxiety thing we went through as a cohesive unit in Gen Z or whatever, where everyone has depression or anxiety. Mind you, a lot of us do because of like circumstance, being on the phones, how we were raised, diets, yada, yada. Okay. But everyone took that and spun it. Now people with depression and anxiety genuinely who are crippled, it was very hard for them to receive help. Same kind of goes for the sobriety thing. And I would hate for that to be, I feel sober is being mixed in as a word with those things. Claiming addiction and alcoholism is not fucking cool. That's the type of shit that pisses me off. Claiming you want to be sober, good. Love that. Perfect. So if you don't have a real problem, just be careful maybe about some of the verbiage you use. Because this is a safe community and it's very important that we leave it open for any single human soul that needs any type of help regarding addiction and recovery and alcoholism. Okay? Love you. That's my only note for you. Now, another thing about this, as we get into these weeks and what they will look like, let me tell you something. Nobody has to know if you don't want them to know. You don't have to place a name on it. You could even call it like a month hard. I don't know. Maybe I'll find like a just more discreet word for the whole process, but you don't have to claim that. And I say this to all my sober curious friends. This is not about your social life. Things will change, but that's not the focus, and that's not what this is about. It does not matter what other people think of you, and it does not matter how you choose to identify with it and what word you choose to use. Okay? Doesn't matter. The world doesn't have to know. And I don't want you to feel like they have to, because they don't. And if people are, they need to mind their own fucking business. Okay? And we just place all these words on all of our harms. And unfortunately, the real thing that is hurting us is self. That sucks, because we put all these words, these sober words, these recovery words, addiction, alcoholism, all of these diagnoses, all these words. And the real issue is self, time and time fucking again. And you've seen me illustrate on this podcast a multitude of occasions, okay? Going into this, I want you to focus on self. This is about self. This is about what you have done wrong and what wrong has been done to you. A lot of people don't recognize sobriety is a rigorous program and a rigorous game that we play that requires all of our attention, a lot of our time, and a lot of our brain power to overcome these severe, really defects of character and thoughts and ideas that chain us to our pain and chain us to substance, whether you have an issue or not, okay? Sobriety And the program, if you take that route, like I did, like if you have a problem, you understand how much deeper alcohol goes. Just like how I kind of said it's about self. It's not about all this other shit. It's about self, and it's about getting to the base of it. So was that kind of me repeating myself? Probably. And, one of the fun things about quitting alcohol is that there are no benefits. There are no benefits to alcohol, guys. Not one single benefit. Aside from maybe like a social lubrication if you have severe anxiety or something. It does not have benefits. It is only hurting you and your physical health. Now, I don't want to talk about image necessarily. I don't want to talk about body necessarily. But I will also say, if you are on a health journey, the way that you lose weight, if you're a heavy drinker, is by cutting out alcohol. I hate to say this to you, but you trying intensely to get rid of that tummy is not going to work until you put down the bottle. That is the only thing that really works, okay? Again, not that it matters. That's not what we're here for. But it's a plus if you're looking for that type of journey, okay? It really is a plus. And they also say at 6 months is when alcohol has fully left your system, which is crazy. There's no alcohol in my body. And the fact that it took 6 months, that's a long fucking time. Like, that's poison. That's 6 months? That's cyanide. That is fucking cyanide. That is lead paint. Like, what? Guzzling lead paint out here is what my pirate ass was doing. You might be willing to step away from alcohol, but are you willing? I can't with this fucking lawnmower guy. Like, where are we? The golf course? Is this the fucking Masters? Like, damn. Are you willing to reap the true emotional healing benefits? Because let me tell you, this is not about me linking you to the program or linking you to recovery in a certain way. This is me linking you to your mental health directly. So yes, it is kind of based in sobriety these 4 weeks, but more so they're based in mental health. That's what I'm getting at, okay? Now, like I said, we were going to say something about the word sober. Kind of going back a little bit, but just so you get an idea, so this paints a little picture for you, okay? The word sober to me is like a crown. Genuinely. It's cheesy, but like genuinely. Because it shows my strength as well as my weakness. Like a crown shows the battles you've won, but also the battles you've lost. And that is what the word sobriety means to me in my brain. And then it also comes with the responsibility to wear the sober crown, because now you have to help others and stay strong for others. So this word means a lot more than we think it does. It's not a state of mind. It's not you just not being on alcohol. It is an honor to have survived. Okay? To me. You don't have a problem, so maybe you don't understand that. But it is an honor to me to have made it out and with my head this high, wanting to help others. Okay? It's a crown I wear proudly and loudly till the day I die, hopefully. I need to knock on something. That was a little far. Hopefully. Okay? Something else. Yes, I have an issue with alcohol. I think, however, every single human at some point in their life, dependent on their drinking, how much they drink, creates this alcoholic beast/monster that looks a little strange and wonky, even to the healthy, even to those that don't have a problem. Do you get what I'm saying? Your personal relationship with alcohol for everyone at some point gets fucking weird. Okay? If you don't know that, that's because you haven't seen it in self, but others can, and it is real. I kind of started to articulate this after I got sober and being in drunken environments and realizing, holy shit, everybody has a similar beast to me. Like, it looks different for everyone. but at no point is it a healthy relationship. You will always be in a toxic relationship with alcohol, whether you're an addict or not. I shouldn't make such a straight claim, but it is not healthy, okay? So if that helps you at all. And first of all, if you are questioning your drinking to any extent, I am deeply proud of you. Self is seeing self a little bit. That's really cool. You should applaud yourself for that. People don't stop and think about their drinking. They don't stop and think about their actions. They don't stop and think about what they're putting out into the world. You did, to some extent. So I applaud you. I just think to some extent, all of us have been scarred by alcohol just a little bit. In like a deep way, like cognitively that matters. I'm not talking like just a bad drunken night or like somebody was an asshole to you while they were drunk or whatever. Like real scars from fucking alcohol. We all have a few, okay? Whether you have a problem or not, we all got a few. Damn, like, can this plane crash? Can this plane crash? No matter who you are, you have things you've done wrong. You have things you should be fixing, irregardless of who you are. Not to call you out, but it's true. Not only are we doing all of that, but we have a community and we have unity and we have a place to go while we explore our insides, okay? You aren't going to have that because you don't have a problem. So that's why I'm trying to kind of create that here. Somewhere that you can go where people understand you, okay? And let me tell you, that is through sharing with each other. That is through sharing with your friends who might not even know the ride you're on or the thing you're experiencing. It's about vulnerability and it's about deep honesty. Unfortunately, we cannot be deemed worthy with shitty hearts. You're ugly if your heart is ugly. Sorry. Now, before I got sober, I actually went through a few kind of like, lack of a better term, I guess, like sober curious holes, okay? Where I would be drunk. Don't get it wrong. I could not put that drink down without help. I could not. And some of you had the luxury of being able to do that. But I got really fixated on it. And I'm like, well, maybe this is a route I can take to try it out to see if I can even like ask for help a little bit, So my first month before the relapse part, so like the first kind of month-ish was kind of like experiment style because that was what I wanted to take, was a similar sober curious route. Very quickly, I realized I had a serious problem and I could not just set alcohol down and I needed severe help. That is also a benefit of doing something like this, is you can see how difficult it is for you. And if it's that difficult, like it was for me, I've said this before, but then you might have an issue and you need to seek help. But there's nothing wrong with that. That's a diagnosis and that's the beginning of the rest of your life, not the end. The very beginning of your life is the day that you receive your diagnosis or diagnose yourself and understand that you could be an alcoholic. And I've said it before, I'll say it a million times. There is no drinking too small or too big. You decide. You decide. Okay? But be honest in that decision. This isn't about the public. This isn't about what you look like. This is about you and what you look like when you look in the mirror. And that's what we need to get comfortable with during these 4 weeks, not having anything to do with the outside. I learned if your soul is being called by something, you go and you do that. If your soul is being called to heal, if your soul is being called to put down alcohol, to take a break, you go and you listen because your heart knows what you want far before you do. And there's a huge issue of self sees self, but if you listen to that gut that's guiding you in the right direction, you can learn slowly to trust self and never ignore those little quiet calls from your soul, because it could just be the adventure that changes your life. So cheesy. Is this fucking Disney? Maybe you don't need the program. You don't need the program. You need solidarity though. How about that? You need solidarity. So instead, how I go sit in meetings, y'all know, this isn't me talking about the program. I go and sit in meetings multiple times a week sometimes every day during a week, sometimes 3 days, sometimes 2 days, sometimes 4 days. That's the period I use to go be with my fellow alcoholics, get it all out, and discuss shit with them. That is an hour, if you don't have a problem like I do, that you can use for solidarity and for being alone. You can replace all of the things that I kind of have to learn that you might not need to learn because I have an issue, and fill that with silence and fill that with peace, because you deserve it, and there is never enough of it, especially at this age. The amount of shit that quiet contemplation has brought out of me is beyond measure. Quiet contemplation has saved my life on several accounts. And I say that a lot. But I have had some serious realizations in just quiet contemplation. Things that changed me. You need to search your soul, and you need to find your faults. That is not natural for everyone to do. That is not natural to sit down and examine yourself, find your faults, find how to move forward. That is done through silence and through sitting down and shutting the fuck up. That is another lesson I learned in sobriety very early on that was very important to me. It was sit down and shut the fuck up. And that's hard, especially for a girl like me. It's not an easy lesson to learn, but most of us need to fucking learn it. And if you can't see your faults, you can't see these things down, it's because you're a little far gone. It's because you need silence and you need to take a break. And you need all this shit outside taken out so you can actually see self, because it's dangerous. It's dangerous to not know. Whether addict or alcoholic or not, at some point in your life, you will have to clean up the mess you made. You will have to look at your faults dead in the eye, because life doesn't let you escape without seeing it. I don't know if that's behind the curtain, the fourth dimension of life, or if that's just a natural course it takes, or what it is. Life won't let you get away. So at some point, you're going to have to look it straight in the eyes. And it's so much better to do that purposefully and intentionally you seek that out versus it seek you out. Does that make sense to you? Do you kind of get what I'm saying? And sober. So you can't tear yourself to absolute bits and pieces when the dog bites back. So you can kind of have enough fucking cognitive ability to be able to sit back and take a beat and look yourself in the mirror and say, I still fucking love you. You're great. No, it's fine. We're good. We're going to move on tomorrow. That was a lot. You did a lot of bullshit. You did a lot of shit. Hey, it's fine. Water under the bridge. Water under the bridge. That's the attitude we are gaining with ourselves. And it is possible. I was the most beat fucking down, insecure, unable to say what I did wrong, won't take accountability, won't have responsibility, the worst of the muck in that area. I had done some really nasty, wrong shit in my life. For anyone that has known me growing up or anything, you can second that. And that girl changed and flipped that shit right on its head. I learned what was wrong with me, and I learned to work with it, not against it, which was extremely hard as a judgmental and insecure woman at the same time as being a piece of shit. And it was so easy for me to drag myself down. So we are learning to do this in a way that allows us to breathe, because healing those things is building you up. It is loving you. That is giving you confidence to recognize these things. And for me, when I recognize those things, or I can see my faults, I can see what's wrong with me, I understand that I'm gaining a severe amount of intelligence. And not to toot my own horn, but any sober person, anyone healing will say that, because to even see it is a massive feat to me, and I feel like to you as well, honestly, because it takes a lot of intelligence and a lot of biting your tongue and maturity. It takes an ass of maturity to look at that shit and say, we got to do better, instead of crawling right back down into the manhole and right back down into oblivion. That shit can happen whether you're drinking or not. This doesn't even have to do with drug and alcohol abuse. You can be that person sober. You can be a piece of shit sober. I would have been that way whether I was drinking or not. We've gone through our mental health. We've gone through the shit wrong with me. We can see this wasn't alcohol. This was me. Again, sorry I repeat that so much. I just want you to take that away as a good starting point, okay? Me talking about your faults and your wrongs, and And how you recognize it is through peace and through silence, and through looking in that fucking mirror and through going through those hard memories and that tough shit. That's what week 1 kind of looks like. We got to lay out our pain. And this fucking plane crash. So everyone, we're at the 4-week plan. I'm going to give you the point of each week. Now, these will be illustrated and everything will be properly laid out and planned on the Autopsy with Maddee P Instagram and TikTok. And then I will post on the screen for week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. Okay? This is not going to be hard for you to find. This costs you no money. But I'm going to tell you the 4-week main things. And we will dive into them as we get to them. Wow. I just made a sentence and finished it. I started it and finished it. I think there was punctuation. Week 1. So, week 1. We are going to be laying out our fears, laying out our pain. Because we need to see where to start. And I want you to start to be able to view yourself as an injured little girl. I want you to view yourself where you left yourself, you think last. Okay? For me, I had left around 15, 16, I think is when I abandoned her, roughly. Okay? That could look different for you. She could still be with you. You could have left her when you were 10. Who knows? But this helps us locate her and view ourselves as much more precious because we understand now we envelope all sides of life, not just the good ones, which you think makes you feel like shit about yourself, but you recognize that you're actually a strong individual. And you're like, oh, I've gone through a lot of shit and I'm here and I see myself differently now. And this is all on paper. And maybe this is why I act that way. And it makes you feel better. It's not like, oh, I act that way because of that. That sucks. Oh, I act that way because of that. Oh, well, I can fix this. Then maybe I won't act that way anymore. Okay. We can, it's like math. This is us breaking down the problem. That's exactly what it is. For a girl that don't know any math, that was good. We are breaking down the problem, okay? Fear is X, gluttony is Y, and the pain you felt from your worst trauma is Z, okay? And all of this is going to equal a big hard sign in 4 weeks. Okay, yeah. Anyways, that was horrible. But week 1, that's what we're going to do. Lay it all out, spell it all out, and for a whole week, try our hardest to get to our core and feel what's really wrong with us, okay? Each week, we will have medication. Could you imagine? I'm medicated. So each week, you'll have 3 Xannies. So each week, we will have meditations to follow. We will have questions. We will have writings. And I will give a few other podcasts or like TED Talk videos or whatever, some other options, some books too, or some just articles, whatever, okay? Shit, okay? So, Maddie, how am I going to lay out my fears? What the fuck? First of all, this isn't week 1. I'm telling you what's going to happen. Week 1 will be next week. And let me tell you, I will spell it out for you. I will help you reach in there and grab it out. What questions do I ask? How do I go about this? What if something's really wrong? What if I need help? Blah, blah, blah. We would divulge that next week, okay? So you will get the answers and you don't have to know. I'm going to help you, okay? Because I did it for myself. So I feel like I could do it, help you with that also, okay? Now, that is week 1. Week 2 is recognizing our behaviors. This is when we start this is the observation period. Okay, this is kind of almost gathering some more data like we do in week 1. Why am I talking so stim? Is it Katy Perry? Bruh, is Katy Perry doing this shit to me? With her damn space launch. Now, we're getting more data because we're recognizing our behaviors and we're noting how we treat others, whether we know them or not, grocery store, friends, acquaintances, work people. How do we treat ourselves? What are we eating? What are we doing? How are we going to sleep? How are we spending our time? Do we sleep? We are recognizing our general patterns of behavior, okay? If you want to boost that, we can work with how we fix those at the same time, okay? We'll work on that when we get to week 2. That's week 2. That week is about others, pretty much. It's about others, because you cannot be a well-rounded individual, which is a bad bitch, which we've talked about, without being humble and possessing a great amount of humility. A bad bitch is humble. A bad bitch holds a great amount of humility because you understand you are not more important than the next. This seems small. This will change your mental health and who you are. Gratefulness also changes who you are, changes your mental health, which is at the pit of humility. Because without gratefulness, we can't see others for their pain. We can't see others in a non-selfish way. Okay? We need to be humble. We need humility for that. And all of this feeds into who we become, how we view the world, and how we view ourselves. Okay? So more data. Week 2. Week 3, we focus on just connection, okay? You maybe have a God. You maybe already love God. You maybe have none. You maybe aren't sure. This has maybe been something you ponder about, you're curious about. This week, or you also may be spiritual, like myself. So the 3rd week, based all in connection. I will break this down for you when week 3 comes once again. It'll be based in connection with your God, with air, with nature, whatever works for you in that way. We are cleansing our soul from being a little hard on ourselves for the first 2 weeks and collecting our data and seeing where we stand. Week 3, we're going to get a little bit of healing on that. And we're going to get enough strength to maybe move forward to some of our more hard things and face some of those things, tribulations and stuff that we identified in week 1. I'm so excited for week 3, bitch. Oh my God. I'm going to do this with you too, by the way. So, week 4, the final week. Week 4 is honesty. Getting the deepest, darkest, hardest secrets, tribulations off your chest. We will talk about it again when it comes. We will also talk about this for AA girls in a more step work program friendly verbiage way as well. Because like we talked about, it's my favorite step. It's the step that changed my life. It was my hardest step. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. It is who I am. Okay. I am step 4. I have had to become honesty in a lot of ways because this was not natural for me. The honesty part rounds us all back out. All of these kind of things that we've developed in these short 4 weeks, looking at who we are, that honesty allows us to go forward past our ratings, past whatever we wanted to do for those 4 weeks, and do it rigorously and do it honestly. Okay? This isn't, again, a well-rounded individual is what we're building. A mentally capable, well-rounded, happy, bad bitch. That's who we're building. That is our goal. This does not have to do with your goals in life. This does not have to do with your career, with finances, with your physique. This has to do with you, your insides, your mental health, and how to get to the bottom of this, okay? Some other people would also call this, mind you, shadow work. If you're not aware, shadow work is a spiritual term, but it's essentially going to all of the deeper levels of self. I always planned on doing shadow work as a spiritual girl. When I got into step work at one point, I thought, well, I want to start doing some shadow work. I had extra time on my hands before I started my podcast. Found out step work is shadow work. So just so everyone knows, these 4 weeks, this is extreme and intense shadow work that will help you, regardless who you are and your relationship to drugs and alcohol, okay? Now, this is just a brief explanation of each. Small synopsis. There are some rules. Again, just like the program, all of this is suggestions, okay? I just laid this out so that I just want girls to understand you can be healthy and you can be happy, because for me, that was something that was impossible, genuinely. And I posted about this the other day where I realized recently that I am happy. And I worked really, really hard to be happy. I had to work for that. It didn't occur to me naturally. I had to work really hard to want to live, to want to be alive and live this life. It always shakes me. You guys see, I get a little bit emotional about that every time because I am very proud. That's my sober crown that I wear, and I worked really hard for that. And I want you to see that you can do that too, in a way that makes sense for you and fits into your life. No one forcing you to see things differently or see anything different. It is seeing self and trying to get to the root of the despair that you do 100% face as being a human being. I know irregardless, you walk around with some form of the human condition. And I've said it before, the human condition is enough to kill us. Okay? So whether you're facing serious, more mental health things, which all of us are at this day and age, honestly, like, and that's not me saying it's like on the trend part. It's true. Like all the shit we go through and stuff, like we all face it. But to some extent, you are facing a natural consequence of being a human and feeling emotion on these very real levels. And you could use a bit of help. Don't lie. We all need help. So I have a few rules that you could follow. You know, if you want, it depends on how much you want to get out of this, because that's up to you, ultimately, how much you want to get out of it, similar to the program. The few kind of like rules and or suggestions I have. These are things that I have talked about on the podcast, but like transformed my life, that are very small and didn't invade my day. And what really caused my perspective change, because that's also what we're kind of doing here. Through these weeks, we're creating a perspective change where we see the world in this different light, in this different way. Damn. Okay. So, at night, you cannot go to sleep watching TV. You can watch TV throughout the day. You can watch TV kind of up until bed, but you have to fall asleep reading a book. Seems silly. It could be one chapter. Could be like I started with the Hunger Games. Okay, well, whatever one I read before that. I don't know. But like it doesn't have to be like a real book. It can be like the Hunger Games or like fucking Diary of a Wimpy Kid. It doesn't even matter. But something about that changed everything. Because like we talked about, nighttime harbors this weird beast. Okay. Any help that you will need coming into this, I more than likely have also discussed in a previous podcast, because this whole podcast, you probably haven't seen the episodes. It is all about helping women. It is all about tips and tricks. It is all about things that I had to overcome or things I had to face or figure out on my own. One of which is that weird nighttime. Okay. Whether you have a problem or not, relaxation does not occur naturally because of the way we're wired now and how weird it is. I have a whole episode on it, so I'm not redoing it. Reading at night changed my life. In a lot of ways, it seems so silly, so minute. This isn't the same as just wearing like matching PJs or doing whatever. This is a perspective change. And it made me excited to get ready for bed. I had way better dreams. I had deep sleep, like seriously deep sleep. I was waking up earlier. And when I'm waking up, I'm more excited to go about my day. Okay. Not even to mind you, the mental health benefits, the cognitive benefits that come from that. It's just not good to watch that TV at night for your mental health. So that is a rule. Okay, we're cutting that out. None of that. First hour of your day should revolve around reflection to some capacity, prayer, connection, meditation, reading, just complete silence, whatever your spectrum looks like of self, of reflection, and of peace needs to occur within that first hour of your day. We are busy. We all have things, okay? So even if that is 10 minutes for you and you don't have much time to get out the door, but taking 10 minutes to slow us down. That's a big thing that we learn in sobriety or in just in mental health and healing. We learn to slow down and to let go. We can't rush through life. Yes, we have our days, but that isn't a precipice. This can't occur every day. Is that the right word? But you know what I'm saying. So just some reflection time is a must in the morning. And this is a little far. But these are things I did, guys, that changed my life, and they really worked. And I think you should jeopardize your time. I really do. That's why I'm kind of pushing towards this, because you need to jeopardize your time to be uncomfortable to heal. It is a must for what you receive, these great benefits in the end. You need to show control, and you need to jeopardize your comfort for that. So another rule, 1 full hour of silence a day. I work a 9 to 5. Grow up. 6 to 7 can be quiet. I know you have only so many. That was mean. I know you only have so many hours in our day, blah, blah. This is the ideology and the kind of like childish thinking that we're letting go of. We're not thinking so much hour to hour what our day looks like the same now. Okay. We're not in a rush. We jeopardize our time. Like I just said, that's why I feel like there can't be too many excuses on the hour thing. Some of these other ones, sure. Like, if you have insomnia, it's not going to work for you to read at night. But 1 hour of silence in your life. If you're busy, this could maybe go hand in hand with your hour of reflection. But to me, an hour, like, not engulfed in prayer, not engulfed in journaling or in reading something or whatever, just emptiness. Not even necessarily meditation either. Just like fucking emptiness. Like, honestly, that's what I would do, because I didn't have this universal wonder that I built inside of myself. I didn't have that place I could go when I close my eyes, that I have now. Like the serenity, the peace that exists, I didn't have that. So it'd be me staring at a fucking wall. But I would get, like I've talked about this before, I would get these crazy, like, aha moments through staring at a wall for an hour. Our brain does not receive that. I think that, like, honestly, that could be a natural component of life and of our day that we left behind at some point in time, because we're off, we're wonky as shit, because like we don't get alone time. We don't get time to just shut the fuck up and let our brain do what it's supposed to do. Like, let her chills, babes. Let her chills. And then also, okay, an hour can be intense. You can do 30 minutes. Okay. Another one is at least one of your car rides during the day, whether that's to or after work, whatever you choose, has to be either radio silent, or sometimes I'll do like a spiritual music, like literally on Apple Music, like spiritual music, like, oh, whatever, for your ride to wherever you're going. I like to do this on the way to work. Somebody's calling me. I like to do this on the way to work. Because it sets me up for a good tone for the day. Try not to choose your smallest ride, your shortest ride, okay? And another somewhat rule. This isn't necessarily a rule, but week 2, as we recognize behavior, some of you will see through week 1, maybe I need mental help. Maybe Maddee was right. Maybe I need to see a counselor. I need to go to a therapist. I need to go see somebody. Okay. I've never done this in my life. How do I make this? How do I even talk to somebody? Like, I'm scared. Like, what do I do? Here's the rule. You don't have to go and get help on week 1. If you discover this is something that is going to work for you, week 2 is about recognizing our behavior. I think it's great to force yourself to have the strength to make the appointment in week 1. Week 3 is a great time to go ahead with those appointments. Week 2 is an even better time if you have the strength. I understand how hard that is. Randomly, I get that. Considering I'm so hard on you for other things, I get that. But I want you to either find a doctor or call one within the first week. You could just find them. You can find one that works with your insurance. Take that route. Find the cheapest one, whatever. And you can give yourself a little time. You can do that thing where you don't actually make your appointment for just a week, okay? Weekish, okay? What are things that we need for healing? What are attributes that we're shooting for? What do we need to exist in us that isn't existing and is keeping us from being happy? Because it sure as shit isn't the thing you're anxious about. It sure as shit isn't the thing you're afraid of, okay? We need honesty, we need humility, we need willingness, we need courage, we need integrity, spiritual awakeness, and we need to be of service to others. Again, Just some things that make a well-rounded bitch a well-rounded bitch, okay? You don't trust your gut yet, more than likely, if you were in somewhat of a state that I was, okay? We build that in ourselves kind of quicker than you think. What you really want, you can feel it. And when you start healing properly, you can feel it. You really can. And you can follow your gut and follow these decisions and make decisions easier and make your way in life because you can hear yourself. Finally, again, you can hear the voice. You can hear your future. You can hear your past. You can hear all that you are in one. I have learned that we are nothing without our gut. And we are nothing without trusting ourselves, which is a hard relationship to build. But I did have a few. I'll share some of my early signs of sobriety working for me. The first one was I found naturally occurring happiness where it didn't exist before. People say this too in the program, like your first belly laugh without alcohol, like that first joy hits without alcohol in your body. And it's like, what the fuck? This is great. Wait, is life cool? Am I starting to get it? And I remember actually, honestly, I can share it. It wasn't my first laugh, but the first time that I was like, wait, I'm experiencing happiness in a place that it doesn't occur. This is kind of a result of my work. And I knew that as soon as the feeling hit. I was sitting outside of work about to go into my job. I was on the way there and this guy almost hit me. Then he circled back into my lane, whatever, like a whole road rage kind of incident somewhat. I prayed for this person as I was driving away. There is a fighter in me. I used to drive in Florida, okay? I prayed for this person. This naturally occurred to me in my brain. I got to work and, work, it was fun. Work can be fun. But to me, no matter what, I'm there to do a job. So it's not me being home or off. So it just sucks worse, the natural life, even if it's a good job, even if it's fun. And I pulled into work and that day proceeded to be a beautiful day. That was right after my sponsor had taught me to ask. At the time, I didn't have a higher power. So to ask Gus, which was kind of not necessarily a play on words, not in a disrespectful way, but as I'm trying to form my relationship with my higher power, which we'll talk about when we get to week 3, using different words to make me comfortable with connection, because I did feel something, and to make me comfortable with that. So my sponsor introduced me to ask me for help from Gus, ask for some strength for the day and for some peace and to fill me with happiness. I did. I proceeded to have a great day at work. And I remember that day very well. That was somewhat early on in my sobriety as well. And I felt really good. And I immediately knew, like I said, that it was my hard work paying off. This wasn't just the day. It wasn't just the mood. It was a result. I had worked for that day. The rest following have been way better. And that was a while ago. But the rest, it didn't stop that day. It didn't stop at that day. My happiness grew after that. Another thing. Wow, I just kind of said that actually. I kind of exhibited that. But was naturally, I was starting to lean into Gus kind of and prayer in times of distress. So naturally, when things were happening to me or I was in a very anxious state or I was not doing well, instead of freaking out, I finally was stopping where I was and being like, even if you don't have a higher power, just a moment where I could self-regulate in a way, because that is really what's happening, whether you're leaning on a God or what. It's learning to pause, which is a huge thing we'll learn during these 4 weeks too. It has a lot to do with the sit down and shut the fuck up. That pause, that life is bigger than you, that you need to take a breath and you're an adult and you need to regulate your emotions. That hit me naturally at one point. And when that did hit naturally as well, that was another one. That was kind of a phenomenon. Because I was like, did I just fucking pray instead of freak out? Like, what the fuck? I'm sorry. Like, did I just take 3 breaths instead of freaking out on you? This is a big deal. Seems dumb, but another one. And then also, I've always been somewhat helpful. like I've said, I come from like a lot of siblings. We all love each other. My family is very like, we're a really close family. We like to help each other. So like I was never like inherently mean to people, you know, or like the mistakes I made were based in mistakes, just that, you know, like at my core, I was rotten in a lot of ways, but I also wasn't, you know, like I had been through a lot in life. I had faced a lot in my addiction, in my alcoholism. Some of the mistakes I made were not necessarily a result of me being a piece of shit human being at my core. But I recognized that I was starting to be like automated for helping others. This started to occur to me naturally as well. Like in terms of, you know, something drops something, that's a bad example, but it allowed me to shift perspective, because now what matters isn't just me, it's like the whole world in a way, or like the whole environment I'm in or whatever. Things are just bigger than us, which is something that you will start to understand on a very deep level that affects who you are in a very good way, and changes your perspective on life, because you care more about helping that person than you do whatever the fuck is going on in your own world, because you've already been in your own world and you're trying to think it out, and like, can we just shut the fuck up and just help some people? Helping other people, like we've talked about, is a great way to stay sober. It is a great way to help your sobriety, and it is a fantastic way to help your mental health. When you are down, when you are suffering, you need to help others. It gives you something. It genuinely helps. On time and time again, since I got sober, on some of my darkest days, my hardest times, I had to go help somebody, and it helped me. There's a selfishness about it. Like, I'm not telling you to go help people for the betterment. Like it helps you too. I started to naturally be wired for the greater good in a way. Not that I'm a great person. I didn't mean it like that. Almost like in selfishness. It just started to occur because I was learning these things and fighting for self and fighting to be a really good person. So these were some of my first signs of things that started occurring to me. Those things I listed weren't later in sobriety. These were early on. This can occur to you within a month of taking things seriously, taking yourself seriously, taking your journal very, very seriously, and being rigorously honest in who you are. Because it can save your fucking life, and it can change your entire outlook within just a few weeks. Another thing I've kind of noticed that is kind of similar with normies, people who don't drink, or people who drink normally, and alcoholics, is that the thing about alcohol is once the floodgate is, like, once the dam is broken, the levee is broken, it floods in. This occurs on alcohol consumption. This is not necessarily like an indicator of where you stand, but I just implore you, when this is all said and done, to remember that your relationship with alcohol can be dangerous, and that one drink, one floodgate down can cause all of that mental health shit to come right back into play. And we'll talk about that when we get towards week 4, when we decide what to do after and how to live life here on out. But yeah, I just want you to be aware of that, is like the factor that you might not go back to drinking normal. And yes, this is signs of alcoholism, but I think because of the way alcohol is and like everyone's relationship with that, I mean, it's our vice. Like it is known all over the world as the thing that it brings you peace or whatever, right? It is a vice. This is what it's known, because everyone wants to drink a lot of it. Okay. And like, again, we've discerned the difference. You can go back and find it, but more importantly, you can search your soul to find it. That's where you should be looking for your answer. That's why things aren't working for you. That's why not being sober and talking about it, or like just discovery or whatever, you talking about it, you thinking about it, isn't helping you. And that's why. Sorry. It's because you need to be honest with your fucking self. Okay? And you need to see it. You can see it. Okay? The way you go about this and the way you go about sobriety is like so personal and so up to you. And I want you to know that you do have the space to make it up to you, because you're starting to make your own space, bitch. Guess what? We don't have to get in where we fit in. We get in where we make room to fit in, bitch. I'm going to make me a spot. I'm going to make me a great spot. Basically, during this 4 weeks, this is about you. This is about bettering yourself and laying out your reasons to want to be better, laying out your reasons as to your pain, as to maybe why you act the way you act. You do the things the way you do them. And know that you are elastic. So much of you changes. So much of you can change. I know you can lock in. Okay, so this is me. I just laid out what these 4 weeks are going to look for us. Okay, next week we'll be talking about week 1. Then we'll do week 2, week 3, 4, yada, yada, yada. Okay. I also am going to have a friend that's doing this who will be coming on the podcast and talking about it, talking about how she feels, what's working for her. She's kind of like my test dummy, okay? She's funny as fuck and she's fine as shit. So there's that. But she's going to be coming on too. Like I said, my inbox is open. But I want you girls to get ready and to lock in because I just spit house. Lock the fuck in because you deserve to meet the best version of you that you can, and you deserve to work very hard. There is no other feeling in the world like coming to terms with your mental health and like actually doing things that make you proud, and make you happy to be alive. So you deserve it. Sober curious girls, be curious no longer. Be curious no longer. Drop the curious and sober curious. Facts though, honestly. Be curious no longer. Give it a shot. See what this shit is about. It's not painful. And we fill those time windows, those time periods with great mental health benefits, things that help us. We fill our time periods. Our life is not boring now. Our life is not empty now for a month. By the end of this month, you will be snatched. You will feel a lot better about yourself and you'll be very happy you did it. It is worth not drinking for a month, which also I think now a month sounds easy to me because it's a month, but I think back to my first month and it was, impossible and very hard. So I should probably remember that while I'm writing all this because it's not easy. If you're in the program and you're a fellow alcoholic like moi, we will also maybe I just have to start doing 2 episodes a week, bitch. Am I about to start doing that for real? Like, I'm looking at my schedule behind this camera right now, and I don't know if I want to bonus this month or do 2 fucking episodes a week. Is that crazy? That seems intense, but I also want to talk to alcoholics, and maybe that's a good time to talk about step work while all the people who don't know the program and stuff are looking this way. And then so I can use more verbiage and talk about the program to the people that already know about it. So I'm not messing up anonymity. So maybe that would be a good time. That's going to require a lot of work, but I don't mind, I think. Do you guys like that idea? Other alcoholic girls, comment down below if during this 4 weeks that we talk about everything, because don't get me wrong, those episodes are, even though I'm kind of not necessarily giving instructions, but talking about the layout of each week and stuff, there are plenty of things to absorb, regardless alcoholism or not doing the week thing. If you're just here to listen, there are going to be plenty of tidbits, plenty of eggs in there, golden eggs for you to find and keep for yourself if you're not participating. But comment down below if you're a sober girl and you would like to talk about some step work or maybe some more just for alcoholic episodes while I'm also talking to the kind of just curious girls. Okay? Does that sound like a good plan for you guys? Are we happy? Are we content? I'm happy. I need some coffee. I'm going to have to work hard, but I'm content. And I'm very happy to help you grow. Again, I am here to help you. I don't know why anyone isn't utilizing me more. I don't get it, but everything is open. Okay. You can text me, you can Instagram DM me, you can do what you need to do because I'm here to help you. And I want you to feel like I do now, whatever that looks like, whatever it takes. Okay. We are here for happiness. We are not here for sobriety. Yes, we're here for sobriety, but the point is happiness. That's my point in this podcast. That's my point in life, almost more than sobriety. Yes, sobriety has 90% to do with that, but can't really be happy without it. But that's my drive. That should be your drive. It takes the pressure off of this, that, and the other. You're searching for a better life and there's not anything that could possibly be wrong in that. You can't make the wrong decision there. You know what I mean? You're not claiming I'm an alcoholic. You're not claiming you need help. You're moving forward and you're getting some mental health. Okay? That's an hour and 15 minutes. My camera's going to die. Well, I love you guys and I will see you next week for week 1. Bring your notepad, girl, because we got some writing to do. Love you. Have a great week. See you soon. Bye.